Welcome to the Filmsteins, the double feature podcast. Join us as we unravel the interwoven experience of the continuous conversation of cinema. Take part in pairing movies with their cursed counterparts, movies that share DNA, or even pairing questionable duos by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/Filmsteins. We offer tiers at the $1, $5, and $20 level, where the $5 tier will grant the ability to request films to further the discussion. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and get ready to join the 100-year conversation. This is the Filmsteins, where movies are more than just entertainment, they're an experience.
They're an experience.
All around you. And welcome back to another episode of the Filmsteins. Thank you guys for joining us today. Today I am joined by my rodeo friend, Lucy.
Hello, everyone.
Remember, we post every Monday and Friday on patreon.com/Filmsteins and free feeds for brand new episodes. And every other Wednesday on patreon.com for Patreon exclusive episodes. Our next Patreon exclusive episode is going to be on the Saw franchise, a big discussion and ranking of the Saw movies. Are any of those movies good?
You better shut your mouth.
Some other recent episodes include X, Pearl, and Maxine. Big discussion on Ty West's trilogy of horror films. The new Long Legs that just came out, about those long legs of Nick Cage. And the wonderful, wonderful Minari. Remember to leave nice comments, thoughts, and ideas on our Patreon as well. Come subscribe for $1. I see you guys coming over here, giving us some support and love. How about you guys come request a movie now? And leave nice comments, thoughts, and ideas on our Patreon. And go rate us on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate all the support. Thank you guys very much.
Are you stressed and filled with anxiety like I am? Maybe in a bit of pain from that car accident you had a few years ago? Well, the sponsor of today's episode, Hempville CBD, has us covered. They have the highest quality products created by chemists and doctors. Hempville carries everything from CBD to THC dispensary grade without those despicable dispensary prices. Order your Delta 8, 9 edibles and vapes along with the THCA flower and get free shipping when you spend $50 or more at hempvillecbd.com. Check out the link in the description for more details.
But today we will be discussing the long time coming film, Lee Isaac Chung's 2024 release, Twisters. We recently watched the original Twister in preparation for Twisters, and I'm happy to report back that Twisters is very good. It's sort of like Top Gun Maverick was to Top Gun. Now Twisters is to Twister. I will say that watching the original Twister helps elevate this movie on some level because it, to some degree, retroactively exposes why the original Twister is just not a good movie. Because let's face it, what is the point of the rival tornado chasers, storm chasers in the original Twister? They're pointless.
It's to make Joe look like a badass even more. And to kind of give this feeling of people who were born with a talent, people who are down to earth about their passions versus people who are not.
But then it begs the question, so what? These people die, the corporation people die, the Tornado Goon Squad dies, and it's just completely not additive. Is it subtractive? Maybe not, but it's not additive, and that's an important part of proper storytelling, right? Some kind of fulfillment. And of course, the romantic side of that movie is kind of funny, but it's not very good. I'm not here to say what and what isn't a great foundation to build relationships on, but tornadoes certainly is not. The adrenaline that comes with it certainly is not. But I did like the performance and angle of the fiance and how she was just like, I'm out. Like, she didn't even really put up a fight. Thought that was funny.
Yeah, relationships in movies are a tricky thing. Sometimes we force people to be together when the movie had nothing to do with that. And sometimes we don't know how to make two people come together to realize they love each other. I liked what we had in the original Twister because they were already married and they were getting divorced, but they didn't really want to get divorced. And just kind of having that symbolism of a Twister in a relationship is always funny. I love that they had the fiance and her just being dragged along like a Twister drags shit along. I don't know. I could see that just kind of being crazy. I don't like the ending of how we made them get back together, but I wasn't too mad at it. Although I will say that this new film did a way better job at giving a so what to these opposing storm chasers.
Yeah, it helps when different elements in a film come together in some form. When you have multiple threads and they end up tying together in fun, creative, sometimes obvious ways.
Because in the original Twister, that's almost like the bad guy got.
But he wasn't even the bad guy. He wasn't any kind of opposition or antagonist. He was just there in a parallel story to bolster Joe and their team and how passion is more lucrative and fun than whatever was happening with these, more corporate academic-minded people, I guess.
Yeah, he wasn't evil, but he was still, the antagonist. The guy who's pushing your car out of the road to get the tornado first. We don't like those people. We're just having fun in this movie.
No, I'm just like, these people just need to chill. Like, this is not, I don't know why there's a battle happening here. It's funny. But then we have Twisters, and it's unabashedly a very similar story, but it takes the best route it possibly could, probably, to make it a real story. We take the inverse of the first film, and we have our main character working with the corporation, with the more straight-laced techie guys that think credentials and academia and data can get you a leg up and are the answers. It's like, okay, that's fun. And we are put through the gauntlet of, it's kind of crummy to just chase the tornadoes, especially when you are constantly faced with the effects of the tornadoes. And so here in Twisters, we see Kate negotiate with that missing fact from the original, which brings some, real emotion and realism to the film. Because it's kind of funny, we even have Kate working behind the scenes for a meteorologist organization similar to Bill from the first Twister. And it kind of puts some things into perspective. It's like, yeah, Bill was kind of the more interesting character from the get-go in the original when he got his story kind of hijacked from Joe and her shenanigans. And of course, that strings him along and he rekindles this love and thinks it's because of Joe when it's just because of the adrenaline. He's misinterpreting his feeling here.
He is not.
That's Bill in the first one I'm speaking of too. So we have a very similar kind of setup. But yeah, there's a surprising number of things happening in Twisters. It's a surprisingly complete-ish movie, especially for its faux blockbuster nature.
Why is it faux?
Well, maybe it's not. That's kind of when I want to get to the nut of.
All right.
And I know you loved this movie because this is basically just a kaiju without a face.
Mm-hmm.
It has even less of a conscience to make decisions. It just destroys, which is cool.
It's like Godzilla.
Well, Godzilla has a brain,
Yeah, but he has no moral obligation to help humanity or whatever. He just does what he does to get the job done.
Because he thinks it's funny.
That's true. He is
you see him smiling. He's
true.
Like,
I'm gonna go sleep in the Coliseum.
It's like, dude, why is that so perfect? What do you think of Twisters?
You're right. Absolutely love this movie. It was an awesome experience. I wish we would have gone to see it at a 4D movie. That would have been freaking awesome.
Yeah, I heard people were getting blown out the exit.
Yes. I would have screamed. Like the fiance girl in the original Twister. How she screamed and people couldn't get her to shut up. That would have been me. It had the disaster, it had the tornado, it had the destruction, mass destruction. It had the romance, but more of a flirtatious romance than a let's make out romance.
I would even call it more suggestive.
All right.
In the vein of the Challengers, the tennis movie. I thought it was really kind of weird in that way and fun.
Yes.
And there's a
yes.
similar thing that happens in the original Twister, but it's not nearly as fun.
It's almost like when your parents are about to get divorced and awkward and you're like, oh shit, what is going on? I don't know. It had the friend zoning. I was here for that. It had all the tech, the suspense. I mean, I was gripping my legs, my own 2 legs, with my little fingernails from the suspense. Especially near the end. Oh my gosh, that was awesome. I like that it's also sort of an homage to the original movie. I know people are calling this a standalone sequel. I don't know. Terminologies are a little hard in the film industry. You got to really know what you're talking about and your definitions of sequels, requels, reboots, all that jazz.
This is so similar, it's almost a retelling. But to be fair, I don't know how you get a story out of Twisters, tornadoes anyways, unless it has to do with chasing them.
Just chasing them? Destruction.
And then, why are you chasing them? You study them in some form, so I get it.
Yeah. Why else?
But so I would call it more than an homage. And fortunately, it's many times better, so. Homage with a capital H.
Yeah, we have some Easter eggs.
Oh, really? Like what?
Like Dorothy.
Oh, yeah, Dorothy. That was fun. Especially just watching it. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
You're like, I know that. And the little ball thingies, I don't know what they're called. The little sensors.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were awesome. And we do have very similar plot devices. I enjoyed them. I'm seeing a lot of mixed feelings on the similarities between the first one and the second one, but I'm sure we'll get to that. The visuals in this movie are insane. The sound design was insane. The tornado was a beautiful, beautiful roaring monster in the movie theater. Like you said, it was a big monster. And I loved watching it. It blew up. It had multiple, at some point, twisties going around. It caught on fire. And now you had a fire tornado. That was awesome.
It attacked at night.
At night, in the day.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was so cool. I really enjoyed the props, like the trucks. Those were awesome. And basically anything Tyler's crew was using was pretty cool, like the drones, the little headsets. I mean, it was all awesome. I don't know how many times I'm going to use the word awesome, but probably a lot. And I do like that we have this theme of technology and this crew that really likes taking data. I always like when a movie does that. It just highlights all the advancements we've had in science and technology. Specifically here for natural disaster research, I like that we went in that direction. But some of the downfalls of the film that I wasn't 100% sold on.
Let me guess. Was it Daisy Edgar Jones? Kate?
It was the characters and some of the performances. Yeah. I'm not sure how I felt about the YouTube bit. Was it a bit too cringe? I don't know. And probably the soundtrack or the music. There were some songs that were a little bit too on the nose about what was happening, or...
I will say, so I don't forget, I think it's kind of funny that Anthony Ramos is already kind of falling into a main supporting character after In the Heights in the Transformers movie, because I agree. I don't know if he can lead a movie.
I don't think he can lead a movie. That was probably the worst part about Transformers, Rise of the Beasts, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, he's terrible in it.
And I liked that movie. I liked Transformers.
Someone had to, I guess.
But he was just not hitting it. He wasn't hitting it here. He's very minor in other roles. I think he was in that Lady Gaga movie, A Star is Born. He was like her friend at the beginning. And his role is so minor that you don't notice if he's bad or good.
The YouTube thing was funny. I like it from one angle, but it didn't go anywhere. It's not very additive, other than the defense that people on YouTube, people on the internet, people without the proper connections to academia or the government or whatever, like Tyler here, who went to school, is educated, but has nothing to do with academia, but has a YouTube channel. And like I said, it doesn't go anywhere, but it has this mild defense of these people, influencers or what have you, may or may not be just as educated as these people with these so-called credentials and backings of grants and whatnot.
Right. What I thought you were going to say, and I did enjoy this aspect of the YouTube thing, is that a lot of people on YouTube like to donate to charity, or at least they say they do. I don't know if they actually do, but that's a big part of, someone like Mr. Beast who likes to give back to the community, will donate to other places. And we kind of have that here with them donating whatever they make from their YouTube channel to the people who were affected by the tornadoes. I thought that was the only angle that I was like, okay, I'm not mad at it. I thought we were just going to go on like a influencer type of statement here. I wasn't sure where we were going with it.
Yeah, they try to put you in the mind of Kate, or Kate's like, who is this schmuck living on the edge of trying to just capture something chaotic to become viral off of.
Yeah, our perception of Tyler and his crew changes throughout the film as Kate's perspective on them changes throughout the film. They go from these hillbillies, youpin yappin, yee yahing, crazy rebels to some more compassionate, really intelligent, or at least really know what they're talking about kind of people.
Which is basically the only depth we get out of Kate, because we don't really get a more emotional side out of Kate outside of having survivor guilt, playing the field with Tyler. We don't get a sense of her passion for her scientific pursuit. We see this dope-ass model, but we don't get any meaningful oomph to why she's so into tornadoes or what inspired it or what have you. I'm not really sure what I could really want to see out of that.
Yeah, we got this weird story that the mom told Tyler when they were eating dinner or lunch or whatever they were eating, that one time she was giving Kate a bath and then she went out naked and was watching a tornado. Like, I'm not sold on that, That might have happened, sure, but...
And I guess it's there to help play up this super in sync intuition she has, which is another fun play to kind of downplay the academic data side of things and rely on intuition a little bit more to some degree, of course, within reason. She knows her shit on top of her gut feeling, so it kind of helps reinforce each other. But yeah, she runs out of the bathroom naked, looking at the storm, and her mom is like, I knew all along she was going to be into storms and shit. I'm like...
Did you though?
Kids are into so much at so many different times in their life. Like, is that just a mom thing to say that I saw that coming a mile away?
Yeah.
He picked up a book, so I knew he was gonna write a book. All right, Mom.
Yeah, those are some of the cringe things parents like to say to brag on their kids. I don't know what it's about. But yeah, we were missing something from Kate that made her like this.
But I will say she's much more likable than Joe from Twister 1. And it might partially have to do with Tyler more or less hijacking this film.
Well, once you put Glenn Powell in a tight-ass white t-shirt and make him walk out in the rain, you know he's going to be the star of your film. It felt like The Notebook or some shit.
Yeah, but fortunately for him, he's got a lot of personality.
Oh, it's not all just looks. That's just me.
And Tyler makes Kate feel things that she didn't know she could feel. She didn't know that tornadoes can be a date. She didn't know tornadoes were a euphemism.
Her mom knew, though.
She did, you're right. And we get a taste of that in the first Twister with Joe and Bill having these kind of orgasmic moments over the Twisters. So it's like, okay, we've got a little bit of a taste of this that this shared passion can be basically sex. Similar to Challengers, in a different way, of course. There's that stupid bit that's actually pretty good at the end when Kate's going to the airport, because for some reason they plan on flying through this big-ass storm. I figured they would have canceled that, a couple hours in advance because they could see that coming, right?
Or days, yeah.
Or days, I don't know. And then she says something like, if you want it, you got to chase it. And there's been this whole through line of Kate putting Tyler on, wild goose chases to get lesser twisters and whatnot. And of course, she's talking about herself. And he has this dorky-ass moment of trying to think. I don't know if Tyler actually thinks. But then he goes and gets her, and then they see another storm, and they're like, yeah, they're raising their eyebrows to each other.
He's like, give me that luggage, let's go.
And then they go have another date. But yeah, his truck was really cool. That was probably one of the coolest parts of the movie, in a really complimentary way. That truck was dope.
I did want to mention this age gap we have between Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones. It's almost a 10-year age gap, and I don't see people talking about it like I saw the backlash with Zac Efron and Zendaya in The Greatest Showman, when Daisy Edgar Jones looks like she's 19. I just want to throw that out there. But also, we paired Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney in the Anyone But You film, also a romance, also I liked. And I think Sydney Sweeney is also 26. So again, same age gap. No one said anything. Although, I also think Sydney Sweeney looks older than Daisy. Why is my boy Zac Efron getting the hate here? Glenn Powell does not look younger either. He looks like he's in his mid-30s. I thought he was 40.
Damn. Well, there might be a couple things happening. One, Zendaya looks way younger than her age and way younger than Daisy here.
I don't think so.
And maybe more importantly, people love to shit on The Greatest Showman. That might be it.
But do people like to shit on Zac Efron? Zac Efron
Yes.
is a sweetheart.
Yes, because of his weird body dysmorphia thing.
Because of his new jawline?
And jawline, yeah. People think that's bizarre and they don't know how to take it. And I mean, that's more recent, I guess, than The Greatest Showman, but...
I'm sorry, but there were probably over a bajillion American girls who had Zac Efron posters in their bedrooms back when you got magazines that had posters.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know when things turned against him. I think it's probably just the movie, personally. And I think Zendaya does look really young, even to this day. Like 16.
I don't think she looks that young, but she is playing a high schooler. And she looks more like a high schooler than at least Sydney Sweeney in Euphoria. So I don't know. But I just don't know why we're not hating on Glenn Powell either and calling him the next Matthew McConaughey. Whoever that is. Well, if I'm the first one to talk about it, I'm the first one to talk about it. We're gonna hate on him like we did on Zac Efron. Or maybe we shouldn't have hated on Zac Efron. The Greatest Showman is one of the greatest musicals I've ever seen in my life.
Well, that is an opinion.
But back to the truck. That truck was awesome. I loved all the gadgets it had. I've never seen a truck that can drill and anchor itself into the ground like that. Apparently, that's something that some trucks do.
Oh, that's a feature.
That's a feature.
I'm going to have to get one of those. It could drill into cement. You saw that?
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know if it quite looks like that, but there are some trucks out there that dig into the ground like that. That was awesome. I loved just how homemade it looked. And it just gave so much personality to Tyler and his crew of this just like ragtag team who is just so passionate about everything that even their truck represents it. I mean, that's something the first movie was definitely lacking. Some of this personality to the truck itself.
Yeah, probably the best part of the original Twister is some of the car sequences where we're moving in and out of vehicles and they're weaving in and out of each other and stuff. That's probably the best sequences. And I will say there's probably one very specific ode to the original with Tyler's crew having that RV. And I think the smart guy drove it, like the data guy with the glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Of course he's wearing glasses. He's the smart guy. And we had a very similar RV in the original.
I also wanted to talk about the introduction of the movie. That was just freaking awesome. Once I saw this introduction, I knew I was in for a ride. And the introduction in the first Twister felt very Jurassic Park, kind of eerie and dark. But here it just felt like, holy shit, we're just sucking humans away. Not one, not two, but 3 people just got sucked up by a tornado right in front of my eyes. We're leading with this.
Yeah, Twisters makes tornadoes look way more deadly.
Yes.
Way crazier.
And then in the first movie, the dad is the one that gets sucked away. But we don't know him. We don't spend any time with him. So you don't really feel it. It's just like a oh shit moment.
It feels like a false intro, like horror films.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, Joe's that little kid. It's like, oh, okay. Like,
yes.
What?
That's a great way to put that. And here we spent some time with them in the car. We were getting to know their personalities. Kate and the boyfriend, I don't know his name.
They wake up together. They're kissing and
she kisses him.
A lot of personality.
Yes.
And
then boom.
And I saw such little marketing material and trailers before this. I was like, oh man, I didn't realize these were her crew. Like we're all right. I didn't know this was part of the plan, but it wasn't.
It was not. I fucking loved it. That was awesome. Watching people get sucked away in the tornado was cool. It was badass. I loved it. But I'm still partial to the cows.
You didn't like the chickens?
Oh my gosh, the chickens was crazy. I forgot about those. But that one scene where the chicken landed and it was like a jump scare, it got me. And I don't know if it was supposed to be a jump scare, but it jump scared me and I think like the guy behind us. He's like, oh shit.
People are wimps.
I think I got jump scared like 3 times in this movie. But I also will be quick to say some suspense movies are in the horror realm. Like Crawl is a horror movie. Just saying.
Sure.
But I'm partial to the cows. That was one of the coolest shits I've ever seen in movies.
That is what that movie's most famous for.
The cows?
The cows, yeah.
I'm sure it's referenced everywhere. I'm sure I've seen like cartoons of cows.
That same scene was referenced in this movie when I would assume when the twins happened, the guy was like, "It's twins," and that's when the cows pop up in the original. That was very intentional.
Okay. I was waiting to see some more cows. I thought we were gonna see horses because of the rodeo thing that Tyler took Kate to. Yeah, I thought that's what was about to happen there.
Horses are sacred in America. We can't do that shit.
Oh, but
although I would eat one in a heartbeat, they're sacred.
I think we should take that out.
So many of these sequences were so chaotic, and that rodeo sequence was just insane. Because you had the bulls, the horses, all these. The people were trying to, I don't know, grab the horses for one thing or another, get on them and run. I'm not sure. I don't know where you're gonna put them when a tornado's ripping through.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse: watching these animals before they're so helpless, they're just running around, what's gonna happen to them, or seeing the cows after twirling in the air. I don't know what's worse, honestly. That rodeo sequence that leads them to getting into safety in the swimming pool is paralleled with the drive-in scene in the first Twister. And I honestly have a hard time deciding which one I liked more.
Oh my god. I mean, that is a good scene in the original Twister, I will say.
It's such a good scene, and it kills me, absolutely kills me, that the doctor fiancé lady is just screaming, and she won't shut the fuck up. And she's just screaming, and I don't know if I would be just holding on tight, letting a guy stand over me and hold on to the railing while we both think about things, pray over Jesus. I don't know what they were doing. They were just silent, and their eyes were shut tight. or if I would be that lady just screaming and screaming and screaming. So I don't know. I found them both pretty charming, especially the drive-in scene. But I thought the rest of Tyler's crew was cool. His friend Boone was hilarious. I liked him at first with the camera. I don't know if I was gonna like him, but as the movie progressed, I liked him quite a bit. I liked Lily. I liked the smart guy. I don't know what his name is. I mean, they were all great. I really liked all the characters we had here. We had a lot of personality to them. We had a lot of charm to them. But I guess I just wasn't sold on Kate and Javi, which are our main characters.
Yeah, they are two of the three essential pieces to this puzzle. And they don't work super well. Story-wise, they come together in a meaningful way. Javi provides the data. I love that there's this trifecta of cooperation. And we have a very similar antagonistic character with Javi, just like the guy in Twister. But I think Anthony Ramos kind of just isn't very good at acting, maybe? Or maybe it's a direction problem?
Is it just the roles he plays, maybe?
Maybe. He just maybe hasn't gotten a fair shake. Because he's fine in A Star Is Born. Small little role. But Transformers is such a massive miss. And then In the Heights is But Kate almost suffers in a more significant way. Because she's our main character and lacks the reason why she's motivated to do X, Y, and Z. Other than Tyler coming into her life and being like, look, you're a genius, you know? She just needs a little man validation to accelerate her dreams and passion.
She needs a friend. Not
she
just
needs
a man validation.
That's fair, because she's alone in the world. She went to New York.
She lost her friends, first of all.
She lost her friends because she wanted to get this scholarship or whatever. She's trying to get her PhD.
Stopped talking to her mom.
Oh, yeah, stopped talking to her mom and just gave up and became a corporate pig, living behind the scenes because she's a coward.
Hey, corporate pigs get the bills paid.
Hey, selling out's not bad. That's fine. Selling out's fine. I think, we have a little bit of that here with Lee Isaac Chung here selling out after Minari.
No, obviously, watching Minari, this dude's into Twisters. Just saying.
That's fair. It was funny to see that tornado warning scene with Jacob and his family, and then this is like,
there's something there.
And, he grew up in Arkansas, so he's familiar with some of Tornado Alley and whatnot. So I will say I really appreciate this kind of writing what you know.
Yes.
Coming out of Isaac Chung. Although he didn't write Twisters, he is probably somewhat familiar with tornadoes. And obviously, Minari is a semi-autobiography, so.
How did you feel about Kate's accent?
I don't know if I really noticed anything wrong with her accent.
It seemed like she changed accents when she came back from New York. And all of a sudden, I noticed a kind of southern accent after she starts hanging out with Tyler. Not sure. I know she's British.
Yes, okay.
Daisy Edgar Jones, that is. It just threw me off a little bit. I'm not crazy mad at it. It wasn't overwhelming. It just took me out for a second. I was like, okay, back to the story.
That's fair. I mean, I'm not great at noticing those kind of differences and inflection. I don't have great ears for that unless you're
talking crazy
or, trying to emulate some British nonsense. But you know how when you're hanging out with people and especially an ilk that you're familiar with, she's from Oklahoma, she's from somewhat close to the South. Being around Tyler might unlock that in her a little bit.
Yes, that's also what I was thinking. When you hang out with your nerdy friends, you probably talk a little bit more nerdy.
You push your glasses up more, and then when you hang out with your ghetto friends, you smack your lips a little bit more, and
you lose a few consonants, a few syllables.
Yeah.
When you talk to your parents, you speak more proper. So
you don't cuss as much.
Yeah, exactly. So we're all guilty of doing that. I know I completely lose my American accent when I speak Spanish and then completely lose my Spanish accent when I speak English.
And sometimes I just start speaking Spanish.
Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, what is he saying? So there could have been some of that here for sure. I don't know, but I just noticed it and it was funny.
That's fair. A lot of people point that out in different films and whatnot, but I never ever noticed that kind of stuff.
That's good.
I think the only thing I notice is the generic Southern accent is kind of a like pre-Civil War Georgia accent. They just think everyone in the South sounds like that when most people in the South don't sound that proper.
Right.
So
like the Southern Belle kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do notice that, but I think that's only because I'm super familiar with us Southern folk.
That's true. I'll tell you what else you're good at. You have a better eye for CG and practical effects than I do. Half the time, I don't know what was CG'd and what was practical. I know the cows weren't practical. At least, I don't think so. In the first Twister. But I keep hearing that this movie blends CGI and practical effects perfectly, beautifully. What's your opinion on that? Because I don't know what's real and what wasn't.
Yeah, it's one of those funny things where something goes off in our heads and we can never look back at what things used to be. A lot of idiots out there who are real obsessed with high frame rates in video games will, supposedly become real into 60 frames, and then when they try to play something in 30, they gag, and it's just like, shut up. You're so extra right now. Just play the damn game. I'm not that bad. Not yet. I really hope I don't get that bad, but I can't. I have a hard time watching older movies. Like Twister. Twister looks real bad today.
Twister looked good to me.
And I'm just thinking, man, Jurassic Park came out not too much before this. Why does that one still hold up? To some degree. That long neck obviously is kind of rough. But yes, a lot of this film was practical.
Oh.
A lot of it was.
I'm also mesmerized by what's going on the screen 99% of the time, that I'm not even remotely thinking whatsoever about how.
Well, the thing is that when people can identify bad CG, it pulls people out. That's the problem.
You're telling me the cow pulled you out of the...
I was never into Twister.
No. What are you telling me?
That it's not a good movie. It does not hold up.
That is a good movie. I would watch it again.
I would never watch that again. But in Twisters, it's a beautiful movie.
Yes.
These tornadoes are awesome. A lot of the tornadoes sucking people away and ripping through stuff and all the destruction, a lot of it was practical.
Whoa. I might have to change my budget guess with this information.
And I mean, they did the most important thing in that what could be practical was practical. And it shows. It's a beautiful movie.
I also read that they filmed this in film.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
I think that's how you properly say that. Not digital? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On stock, film stock. So that means it's even more expensive than what you thought.
Oh, man. All right.
Because it's many times cheaper to film it digitally.
And this is a long movie. It's a little bit over 2 hours.
Yeah, and so this is when you have a lot of hours to get through, to edit through, and make a movie out of. This is when films can blow up even more in price, because film stock is not infinite. Like digital.
Yeah, I saw an interview where Glenn Powell talked about how this movie was filmed using film and how limited some of the reshoots were. Does that make it more impressive?
Not really. Because it kind of begs the question, like, why film? I know there's a preservation kind of advantage to film, in that there's an infinite amount of information captured in film to be able to be upscaled to 8K, 60, 1000K when the time comes and stuff.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure that's right. And when you record in digital, it's a locked amount of information per frame, and so you need like fancy AI type techniques to upscale it in any meaningful way. And AI upscale is not very good right now. It makes things look like you cranked up the sharpness on an image. You know how you go to an editing tool and you crank the sharpness up?
Yeah.
That's what AI upscaling kind of looks like right now, which is a look if you're into it. I don't know if movies are doing that, like the Criterion Collection and stuff. I don't like these preservation kind of catalogs. I'm not sure if they are doing things like that. But it would probably be kind of surprising to know. I don't know, but a lot of films probably do film in film still, especially hearing some of these budgets. Like, I think Oppenheimer was filmed in IMAX, but...
Isn't that a place where you go see movies?
Like maybe Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds was filmed on film, maybe? I'm not sure. Like, film is so ugly, you gotta assume it was filmed digitally because it fits the time. And I think it was trendy in the early 2000s to be completely digital and be part of the cutting edge technology. So I don't know, but that would maybe help explain that enormous $100 million plus budget, because that is not a $100 million movie. But what do you think about the plot, the kind of sticking point of Twisters? We are trying to implode the Twister, trying to send him some diaper polymers up in the Twister and suck it down.
That was awesome. It almost started to go into this sci-fi realm, the good side of sci-fi, not the trashy side of sci-fi. So I was all here for it. Whether the science behind it was real or not, whether the explanations were legit or not, I was here for it. It sounded good to me. I love this idea of working for a common good, working to save lives.
Yeah, I agree. It brought some needed groundedness to it, because what the hell was Joe and them doing, realistically? They were trying to gather data about how Twisters formed and just their overall movement to make predictions and whatnot and stuff. And
well, their information was probably relevant enough to get Kate and them to where they are now. With this advancement of technology years later in the natural science, which is what I loved.
And there is some fun kind of linear progression to that I enjoy, but it's maybe one of these things that in retrospect, man, what Joe and her team were doing is pretty fucking lame.
Compared to these
guys. Especially compared to the photographing it from 3 angles with Javi and his team. Like, that's super cool, capturing data on a whole nother level.
But Joe and her team couldn't do that back then.
That's fair, but it makes them look like they're just out there for the buzz. And it's like,
that's Tyler,
okay.
Though.
That is Tyler, but that's one part of this 3-part puzzle, when that is just the entire puzzle of Twister 1, you know?
That's true. Tyler's thing was, you don't face your fears, you ride them.
And he was ultimately the charming love interest to help someone better than himself, to help something bigger than himself.
That's true. That's something the first movie was missing. When you have such a natural occurrence on this world, it's hard not to make it about humanity and the overall everybody. Because in the first movie, it was basically Joe's life lesson, right? That there's things out there that just happen because they happen. There's no one to blame. There's no explanation for them. Shit just happens. And that was probably one of the reasons why she was so adamant about chasing these tornadoes and getting the research she needed. To help others, yeah, but it was more about helping her dad, who was already gone. But in Twisters, this new movie, we really expanded that.
We did, and it kind of leads into this problem I have that pops up here and there in this film with Javi and his side of things, working with Mr. Riggs, coming in and buying up property and everything. And this movie trying to make that look like a and evil to some degree.
Yeah, explain that to me.
I'm not sure what's going on there because a tornado rips through your little town of 5 to 10,000 people maybe, and we have this corporate realty guy come in and buy up property cheap. Okay. What do these tornado victims expect? Probably not much. They probably just watched their life kind of just leave to some degree, and someone coming in and offering a sum of money for ultimately probably your property, because you don't have housing market value anymore. Your whole neighborhood doesn't. It's not really in that kind of market all of a sudden. So you have this guy coming in, this organization coming in and offering a sum of money to restart your life to some degree. What I don't know what the evil is in that. He's profiting off of people's
misfortunes, but if you're living there, you know where Tornado County is, Tornado Belt is. So you kind of know that's what's going to happen. So you get the insurance. And I don't know, but I think that was one of the selling points, that some of these people didn't have insurance. And that's why, hey, we can target them. But if you don't have insurance, you probably wouldn't mind someone to come rescue you.
Yeah, I didn't get that so-called evil angle.
Yeah, I don't know if there was more to it that I didn't grasp, or I don't know the legalities of these types of situations. They weren't explained to me very well if there's something wrong here.
Yeah, I don't know how in the world Kate managed to make Javi insecure about what he's doing, to the ultimate point of him handing the data to Kate to, help save this town, basically.
To give it to her boyfriend.
Yeah, because it's fine for Javi to, want to end up giving the data out to help save people. That doesn't change the fact too much that this tornado is going to come ripping through, because I don't know how realistic it is to have people on standby to be there to dissolve, implode tornadoes. Like, she's proven theoretically it can happen, yes, now, but...
Does everyone at their house need to have one of these barrels ready to go?
Yeah. And am I mistaken, or at some point when they released the amount and there wasn't a sufficient amount of water or whatever in the tornado, it made the tornado bigger? Is that what happened the first time her and Cowboy tried to take one out? That's the impression I got, at the very least.
Yeah, I don't know if it made it bigger, but it definitely didn't stop. I know that one of the solutions was to add this silver iodide to dry out some of the moisture, along with the silica diaper beads, whatever. So I don't know if without the silver iodide, it just created more moisture. Not sure. But it definitely wasn't making anything calmer.
All right, man. Well, thank you for watching this movie and talking about it here today.
You're welcome. How long has this movie been out?
Yeah, just over a week.
Okay.
Do you have a budget guess?
My budget guess originally was 100 mil, but with all the recent information I got during this episode, I'm thinking it might be higher, but I don't know how much higher. So I think I might go with 120.
Well, it says here that it was 155 million.
Oh, shit.
Which is insane. And so far it's went on to make 163 million.
What?
So it's on track. It's about to surpass Furiosa already.
Oh, man.
Just so you guys know, that stupid ass movie If, with John Krasinski and Ryan Reynolds and a bunch of CG imaginary figurines, has made more than Furiosa. So sad.
Yeah, I don't think I finished If, so that tells you something.
Yeah, garbage movie. And over on Letterboxd, with 241,000 people, they weighed in at a 3.5.
Whoa.
Very high, I think, for this film.
That's my score, 3.5. I am with the average. I am with the Letterboxers. What prevents this movie from being a 4 and potentially a 4.5, because I just love these types of movies, And this one definitely had more going on than the original Twister, and I actually quite enjoyed that movie. I just can't get over Katie as a character. I don't even know if it's her performance. It's just her character, but Anthony Ramos and his performance and character, I don't know. I did like this friend zoning kind of thing, him pining over her.
Yeah, it was a little weird too. We didn't get anything out of that, but there was this kind of friend zone thing happening, it felt like.
And then it was just hinted at until the end when he's like, at some point, I would have done anything for you. And you're like, what?
I mean, I take it more like, what the fuck are you trying to say, dude? Just stop. Just stop. But yeah, no, I'm with you. Her characterization was not really there.
Yeah, Tyler's character and Glenn Powell's performance completely carried majority of the movie.
Yeah, I think I'm probably landing on a 3. I was thinking a 2.5, but I was like, there's a little bit more juice in this movie than a 2.5.
Yeah.
I'd be a little bit more confident in my 3 if there was a little bit of a proper treatment to Kate. She's definitely lacking. Javi, I can look past because it's weird. It's weird enough that I'm like, okay, this is the friend zone thing. I get it. His mannerisms, the way he talks, it's just, he's a weird addition to this movie.
Yes.
But I'm like sort of here for it. You know, it's like bad enough that's kind of good thing. I don't know. But yeah, I guess a 3 helps categorize the experience at the very least, because it's a very fun, intense movie. Very beautiful.
A lot of the reviews I saw online were very divided, especially in terms of comparing it to the original movie. Some people feel like it was beat on beat. The first movie, everything about it was the same, and they didn't enjoy that experience. That a lot of these characters...
Whoa. I mean, okay, it sort of was beat for beat similar, but it's like, what if we took the original and just made it a better movie? That's fine, right? That's fine to me.
Yeah, like you beautifully said in the beginning, Top Gun Maverick is a great example of that.
It's very similar in that way.
But I guess people don't like that. Some of the characters here were not as charming as the original cast.
Okay.
And then we have the other side who love the original and love this movie and thought it was just awesome. And how, although, yes, very similar to the original movie, it made it its own and it worked.
We should just now pretend that Twister, the original, just doesn't exist. We have our Twister movie.
No, I still like the original. Not better, but I still like the original.
Well, that's fine. Again, everyone, someone's got to like it. But thank you, man, for talking about this movie here today. And I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Remember, we post every Monday and Friday on all of our free feeds. And every other Wednesday on patreon.com/Filmesteins for Patreon exclusive episodes. Our next core episode will be on the long awaited Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes. I'm so excited.
Hopefully I don't fall asleep in the theater.
That movie ticket is too expensive for you to be falling asleep. You're going to take a $24 nap.
I'm going to take a nap in there on purpose so someone else can't see the movie.
Oh, shit. 100 movie nap if we buy popcorn.
Yeah, hopefully it's a decent movie. I liked Guardians 3 last year. This is Deadpool's first outing since Disney got involved. So I'm very interested to see how this plays in their strategy moving forward. But I know you're looking forward to it. I hope you guys look forward to that. Remember to leave nice comments, thoughts, and ideas on our Patreon as well. Come subscribe for $1. Come right in. Come request a movie. Go rate us on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate all the support. Thank you guys very much. But until next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of The Filmistines. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on our cinematic journey. We hope you enjoyed the discussion and gained new insights and perspectives in the world of movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform, especially Patreon, at patreon.com/filmistines, and follow us on social media for more film-related content. We love hearing from our listeners, so if you have any feedback, suggestions, movie recommendations, or book recommendations, please feel free to reach out to us. Until next time, keep watching and keep loving the magic of movies. This is The Filmistines, signing off.